going to hear any hockey. So let's get right into it. Alabama, 4 Auburn football players have been kicked off the team after being arrested and charged with robbery, burglary, and theft. Now, Mike McNeil, Antonio Goodwin, Sean Kitchens, and Dakota Mosley all were arrested recently in Auburn, and police said that 3 black men entered a house about 3 miles from campus, one displaying a handgun. They then stole property. After a motor vehicle stop, the 4 were arrested and a pistol and stolen property were recovered, according to police. Mosley is white. I'm reading what I pulled off the internet. I don't know what color enters into this, but regardless of their color, all 4 were held in the Lee County Detention Center on $511,000 bail.
Should be.
Goodwin, Kitchens, and Mosley all were part of the strong 2010 signing class, and McNeil, who was a senior, led Auburn with 14 tackles, and he was expected to return to the secondary next year. Led with 14 tackles in the BCS title game. So that's what's happening in Auburn. You don't hear about out in North Dakota, Dave Hackstall's boys, or in Minnesota, Donnie Lutria's kids getting arrested, do you?
No, they're too interested in playing hockey. I think it's a great idea when they come up with the bail money like that. What do they do? Take the total scholarship money that they would have earned and put it on for bail? Great idea.
It's either that or cumulative grade point average.
Well, yeah, that'd be less than 5,000, that's for sure.
Sticking with college football, Aspen, Colorado is where 2 Michigan State football players were arrested recently for fighting in a bar and then trying to flee from officers. Now, Max Bullough and Brian Linthicum were arrested shortly after midnight at the Regal Watering Hole. Workers reported that Linthicum was assaulting another patron. Cops say the 2 players ran away when they arrived, and when officers caught up with them, they had to use a stun gun to subdue Linthicum, who is 6'5" and 250 pounds. The other one, Bullough, was charged with underage possession of alcohol, and both were charged with eluding officers and later released. Now, a few years ago, we saw the Michigan State hockey team win a national title.
Yep.
I don't think Rick Comley's boys are out getting brought down by stun guns in bars, do you?
No need of that.
Absolutely not.
Were they accosting somebody? Is that what the deal was?
Yeah. From college football to Major League Baseball, Major League security officials recently met with the Oakland Athletics and delivered their annual spring lecture to the players on the pitfalls of their profession. One of the subjects...
Excuse me, that's the same speech that Rick Tocchet gives to the NHL?
Yeah, said there was no hockey mentioned. One of the subjects was discussed was the danger of drinking and driving. Now, Coco Crisp was at this meeting. Hours earlier, though, he had been in jail for drunk driving. And he's the latest major leaguer to face a DUI charge since spring training began. Of course, Detroit Tigers first baseman Miguel Cabrera was arrested last month on suspicion of driving under the influence and resisting an officer without violence. And then the Cleveland Indians learned that their outfielder, Austin Kearns, was arrested on February 12th in Kentucky. He opted not to tell the team on advice of his attorneys. So he puts the team into the awkward position of having to discuss all this without knowing any facts. Now, here's something interesting about Crisp. He was injured most of last year. He played just 75 games. He went on the disabled list in April with a broken pinky finger, then again in May with a strained rib muscle. Now, I don't think anyone in the Bruins, can you see Sean Thornton telling Claude, I can't play tonight, my pinky finger's a little sore.
No kidding.
Come on. Now, he batted .279 with 8 homers, 32 RBIs, and 32 steals. He's due to make $5.75 million this year, Coco Crisp, who again was recently arrested. Now, while Coco's out getting bombed and driving around, I just tell you this, I don't recall Terry Crisp doing that when he played or coached.
Never. Terry had a lot of good stories, though. But you know what? I blame the Oakland organization for that. They should have given this training session a week previous.
Yeah, it's their fault. All right, let's go closer to home. Foxborough. Patriots defensive back Brandon Merriweather was present during a shooting in Apopka, Florida last month when 2 men were shot, but law enforcement officials have made no other characterization of his role in this shooting. Both men were taken to the hospital. One was listed in critical condition, the second victim treated and released. Now, this isn't the first time Merriweather and guns have been mentioned in the same story. In 2006, the summer before his senior season, he and teammate Willie Cooper saw a suspicious car parked outside their residence. When they went to check it out, a man at the house next door to them shot at them, hitting Cooper in the rear end, and Merriweather decided to return fire, and the man ran away. Nobody was hurt, and Merriweather, who did have a permit for the gun, said he was acting in self-defense. He was not charged. So we'll have to see what Myra Kraft says about all this, but here's what I have to say. You don't hear about former Bruin Brandon Bochenski shooting up people, do you?
No, and Willie Cooper, you never hear Willie Plett.
Nope.
Other than getting in a couple of fisticuffs during the game. The clock is going, so that doesn't count.
Did Willie O'Ree ever shoot anyone with a gun?
Never.
No.
Not that we know.
No.
And you know what I can't understand is that's a shady incident. All of a sudden there was an incident which nobody knows anything about, and then weeks later, the people who were shot, allegedly shot, mentioned that Merriweather did it, and that was in a civil court. So it could be the cash dollars they might be looking for, but I'm just assuming all of this.
All right, staying with football. San Diego Chargers wide receiver Legadou Nane was arrested recently in Indianapolis and charged with public intoxication and resisting arrest. Now, Nane allegedly came across an active crime scene at around 3:20 one Saturday morning.
Of course he did.
And police smelled alcohol on him and asked him to move along, but Nane reportedly resisted and asked one of the officers why he was being such a expletive. After several attempts to get Nane away from the scene, officers tried to place him under arrest and had to use pepper spray when he resisted. According to the report, after putting Nane in handcuffs, he said, "Do you know who I am? I'm an NFL player and I'm going to sue your rear end." When they ask, "Do you know who I am?" that means they must be pretty bombed.
Yeah.
So he'll likely become a free agent this season, but don't look for the Chargers to bring him back. So that's Legadou Nane. I don't remember Lou Nanny doing this when he was in Minnesota with the North Stars, do you?
No, not at all. And how do you spell Legadou? It sounds like a great name for a grandchild.
Yeah, or maybe a toy for the kids. All right, here's another football player in trouble with the law. What a shock there.
Oh.
Last Saturday night, Minnesota Vikings cornerback Chris Cook was arrested in Lynchburg, Virginia, and charged with brandishing a gun during a fight. According to the report, the 24-year-old was booked shortly after getting involved in a fight with another man. Cook denies the allegations, saying all he did was get into an argument. Here's a quote: "I wasn't in any fight or nothing. It was just an argument." Cook, who is not an English major, only played in 6 games. So as much as I hate Matt Cook, you don't hear about him pulling any guns during arguments, do you?
No, not at all. And you know, it's interesting topic that you pick up the name Matt Cook. Matt Cook, one of the biggest goons in the league right now, plays for a guy named Mario Lemieux, owner of the team. And Mario says, they got to get this goonism out of the league. Well, Mario, why don't you look at your own roster? See what we can do from there.
Yeah.
You hypocrite.
Mario wasn't yapping a year ago when Matt Cook nearly killed Mark Savard, was he?
No. And Mario always had a goon or two in his wings as well.
All right, more from the NFL. This is a dandy. Luke Driscoll, who's a St. Louis Rams scout, was recently arrested for exposing his genitals.
You know, you always have one of these.
To a female police officer. Now, according
to a female police officer.
Yep.
That's always a good idea.
Yeah. According to the report, the 33-year-old Driscoll urinated on a downtown building. He was charged with public nudity and intoxication. You kids out there, if you have to use the bathroom, don't do it on a public building. Go inside and use the urinal, okay? Police said Driscoll's speech was very slurred. He's been a Rams scout for 11 years. He was reportedly back at work and timing players at the Combine on Saturday. The team is looking into the situation. Let me just end this one with this here. I've never heard of my friend and former classmate Mark Leach, who's a head scout with the Detroit Red Wings, going out urinating on any public buildings.
No.
Never acting like such a reprobate.
What was his name again, Luke?
Luke Driscoll.
And Luke Ropadie, I bet, never showed his personal parts to a police officer.
Absolutely not.
Female police officer. And you know, I might add here, I have to commend you when you take a time out from your busy schedule and doing the police report, when you do like a community service thing to give the young kids a little direction in life.
You don't want to be out there going to the bathroom in public buildings. You'll get in trouble.
I understand. And it's nice for you to portray that to the young kids that are watching the show.
We're here to help.
Yes, we are.
Another Auburn running back is in the news. Eric Smith was arrested and charged with third-degree domestic violence for an incident in February, a police report states. He allegedly was charged with third-degree domestic violence, which is a Class A misdemeanor. Now, he was sober at the time of the arrest, did not resist arrest, and what happened allegedly is that just some sort of altercation. But also, you recall in 2009, he was arrested and charged with third-degree assault in connection with a fight in which he knocked a fellow Auburn student unconscious with a punch to the back of the head. So he's been declared, he was academically ineligible for the Outback Bowl. So Eric Smith's career comes to an inglorious close at Auburn. I don't recall Rick Smith's career coming to such a shameful end in Boston.
No, and Billy Smith, the goaltender for the Islanders, he had a tremendous career as well. He wasn't punching any from the back of the head.
That is the police blotter.
Nice.
Bingo.
But you know what? So's the